The gun control junkies want to know why we can't be like other countries and have more gun control laws. The reason is because we're not like other countries. If there's one country in the world that's considered free and controlled by its people, it's the United States. Now, wherever there are gun control laws, there's always some form of dictatorial government. As desperate as our left-wing politicians are to control the people of America, the Constitution and Bill of Rights reminds them that they actually work for the people, and they hate that. We often hear gun grabbers in America talk about Australia when trying to convince their fellow citizens to give up their rights. In 1996, Australia implemented a so-called gun buyback. American leftists think this is a great idea and have tried it several times, but can't seem to build public interest in the idea of American citizens turning in their guns. Now, this so-called buyback in Australia was really a gun confiscation because the government can't buy back something they never sold to you in the first place. And this particular buyback was mandatory, meaning turn in your guns or go to jail. This gun grab was sold to the public under the guise of public safety and reducing suicides, but they didn't need to sell it at all. The people had no say in the matter. The confiscation, which included several types of rifles, did nothing to curb violence or suicide, yet gave the Australian government much more power over the people through this nationwide disarming. Many Australians supported the gun ban because they'd been conditioned for generations to fear guns and hate gun owners. They believed the lie that gun control would keep people safe, like the conditioning that's being put in place in America through anti-gun propaganda and left-wing controlled media. Now, gun control in European countries has had the same effect. And when people from those countries expect the United States to give up their gun rights, many can't understand why we have not been willing to do so. I guess we don't want to be like them. Besides, we already told the king once what he could do with his gun control. Often when people find themselves in a debilitating situation, they try to justify their condition by comparing themselves with others. If my situation is similar to others, it might not be so bad. Now, this may be why people from other countries would like to see Americans unarmed and helpless. In this particular case, other countries cannot compare themselves with American citizens because we have not allowed our government to disarm us. From our founding, we've decided that the power will always be in the hands of the people, and we will use firearms to ensure that. Our founding fathers experienced tyranny firsthand and decided they would no longer tolerate it. They gave the power to the people and made sure the government was in a more vulnerable position. Unfortunately, many people from countries around the world don't have that option and are culturally conditioned over generations to find that type of leverage in the hands of people to be preposterous. When the anti-gun crowd can't convince American citizens that being disarmed is the best condition for them, they grasp at any possible justification for gun control laws. They'll even stoop so low as to lie about America's standing in the world when it comes to violence. Gun control advocates often claim that violence is much higher in America than in other countries. Well, this couldn't be further from the truth. According to Eric Pratt in Firing Back, when it comes to murder rates around the world, the United States is not even among the top 100 most dangerous countries. We are in the safest bottom half, and all of the countries in the top 100, those with the highest murder rates, all of them have stricter gun control than the United States. Mexico, for instance, has a murder rate about 6 times higher than America. And it may come as no surprise that they also have gun control laws that make it almost impossible for private citizens to protect themselves with firearms. Well, that is if they want to do it legally, a process that the bad guys completely ignore. And when we do look at the most dangerous areas in our country, we recognize that almost 2/3 of our nation's murders occur in just 5% of the counties. It's places like Chicago, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. that drive up our nation's murder rate. It's also no surprise that those areas are infamous for having some of the strictest gun control laws in the country. These are areas where good people are disarmed and rendered helpless, while criminals are left to run wild through politically motivated plea bargains, bail reform, and early release policies. Now, regardless of these facts, we don't need to justify our gun rights based on America's violence rates compared to other countries. We don't have to justify our gun rights based on anything. We are different than other countries. We have the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and the Second Amendment. So the gun grabbers really do have an uphill battle. They don't have the statistics on their side. They don't have other countries they can use to justify gun control here in America. And they have our founding documents, specifically the Bill of Rights, that reminds them every day to keep their grubby hands off our guns. Thanks for watching Bullet Points. I'm Dan Wass for Gun Owners Foundation. You can find more Second Amendment content and updates at gunowners.com.